she would put a kiss in her hand, put it on the wall and say, "Mummy, here's a kiss for you. Come and get it later." And, you know, there were times...
You couldn't walk for 5 minutes down the road alone. You couldn't get off the sofa or up off the floor. I'm out here alone without family. What I had to channel myself into was my competitions. And I was worried that taking HRT would affect my ability to do that. Welcome back to the Stronger with Scarlett podcast. Here I have another guest with me today, Pierre Shilliday, very good friend of mine. Today's episode is more about when strength chooses you, not when you choose to be strong. Pierre is a cancer survivor, educator, and a really, really solid good friend of mine. I'm your host, Scarlett Harvey, an educator, an athlete, world champion, now a published author. Yay. A speaker and a strength coach. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, like this video. You know how much it helps me. I make these conversations and these videos to help you. I'd really appreciate it if you could just help me back by giving it a like, a thumbs up, and sharing it with a friend, because it really helps the channel, the algorithm, and hopefully the future growth of this podcast, menopause conversation, and all in all, the womanhood of supporting one another. Today's episode is about how illness, menopause, reinvention redefine what it means to be strong. We all know I'm a world champion strong woman. We talk about muscles, we can look at the body, we can look at how much weight I can lift, breaking world records, but actually strength runs so much deeper than just what you can lift. I know that physically to be that strong, I had to mentally find my inner strength. I also know through the story that I've shared in my book, Brave Enough to Begin Again, how deep I had to search for my strength. However, you have experienced something in life, as have other women, that we're going to talk about, that has made you find a level of strength I'm sure you never thought that you had. And actually how finding and rediscovering that level of strength is going to see you do incredible things for the rest of your life. So actually, sometimes what we see as such a painful, hard time, for you, it's very different. For me, I've shared my pain in here, but how it enables you to discover a side of yourself that is going to make you achieve incredible things in the future. Yeah. So, Pierre, we used to be colleagues together at school.
Yes.
When I was teaching, you were my wonderful teaching assistant.
Yes.
Literally the most amazing woman ever, my superhero. Whilst I've gone through many difficult times.
Yes, different situations.
I'll let you briefly talk about the first time we actually met at school.
Yeah. Yes? You really want me to go to that? Oh, the first day we met was the first day of school, and I had to meet you in your classroom. And I opened the door and then said, "Good morning. Hi, I'm Pierre." And you're like, "Hi, this is Scarlett." And then she straight away burst into tears. Like, I was like, "Oh my gosh, what is happening?" I quickly closed the door. I came over and I go, "Mate, are you okay? Like, we'd never met, we'd never spoken in school. And are you okay?" She's like, my partner has just left me. We've broken up, and yeah, it was just inconsolable. And I said, "Okay, take your time. Just take your time."
Yeah, and that's how we met. And that was actually the partner before this situation. Right. Yeah. These two things are not linked, actually. Yeah. I'm obviously just a very emotional and very sensitive person. Yeah. Learning lots about myself through life. Anyway, so you were my teaching assistant. You're now a fully qualified teacher yourself.
I am.
What inspired you to become a teacher? Because you were a nurse before, right? Yeah. So you were a nurse in Australia, a nurse in Ireland. Yes. Moved to Dubai. You were not a nurse here.
No, I know. I was pregnant when I got here, so I couldn't work straight away. And then when I had my daughter, for the first 3 years, I was just a stay-at-home mom. Not just.
Thank you.
Yes, a stay-at-home mom who works 24/7, and then when she turned 3, I was like, okay, I need to do something with my life, and so it ended up just organically. I think I ended up working at the school that she was going to school at as a TA, and honestly, it just really opened my eyes. Firstly, like how to bring up a child, or how I want my child to be brought up, and it was very eye-opening, like all the different styles of parenting, all the different types of children, and then just seeing how teachers were and how the school environment was in the influence of children. And then, I don't know, it just became a natural thing, especially when I started working with you, inspired me to become a teacher. Like, You gave me the opportunity. You found like my skills were art and creativity and all of those kind of things, as was yours, but you let me have that opportunity to teach lessons in art. And you were my, you're a staunch supporter of like, right, Pierre, you can do it. Just see what you come up with, plan a lesson. I'd never, ever planned a lesson before in my life. And I go, okay, well, what about this? And you're like, yep, go for it. Find the materials, and teach your lessons. And I remember the first lesson I taught, I think it was stamping, vegetables stamping, with paint. And I taught it. And then I said to the children, I just want to tell you that this was my first ever lesson that I've ever taught as a teacher. And immediately they all clapped and like, woohoo, woohoo. And I remember the children now, they're in year 6. Can you believe it? That class is in year 6, and they still, hello, Miss Day, how are you? I still have a relationship with them.
I love that.
And it was really
so much.
nice. Yeah. So yeah, thanks to you.
Thank you for my now teacher.
I've become your teacher.
Yeah, that's really nice. And that is a true reflection of what I do now. Okay, I'm a strength coach within the gym, but it's not just about pushing more weights, lifting higher numbers, lifting a bigger dumbbell. I really can see talents, strengths and opportunities in other people. And it's about encouraging those and helping people to grow their own confidence and to really believe in themselves.
Definitely.
Which is a really important skill mentally and emotionally to either develop before perimenopause or during peri and menopause and postmenopause. Because on the previous podcast, we were discussing about identity loss and confusion and things like this. And having a bit more confidence in yourself, in what direction you want to take, is really important. And if you're struggling to find that confidence alone, find a coach, whether that's in the gym or a life coach or a therapist or a friend who can help you identify what are your strengths and what are your talents and encourage you and build that confidence so that you can go and live your next life.
Yeah. But having the confidence to believe that I am good at that.
Yeah.
Actually, to say that out loud. No, actually, I am good at that.
Yeah.
You can't tell me anything else,
Love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's who you were. You were my teaching assistant, etc. But let's talk about the now, which is really amazing. Well, we are going to kind of jump back and forward. So we don't always get to choose how strong we want to be. Sometimes being strong chooses us. And that's kind of the overarching theme of this discussion. Because ultimately, 4 years ago, I remember receiving the phone call from you. I was driving in the car and you were diagnosed with cancer. Type of cancer?
It was non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and you found the lump under your armpit to the side of your breast.
Yes, and it was just a little pimple, and within a week it came to the size of an orange. The tumour was so aggressive. And the oncologist said, if you had to choose a cancer, this would be it, which at the time you're like, thanks. I don't...
What does she mean by that?
I think she was trying to soften the blow that, the word cancer has been introduced in my life. Yeah. By saying your cancer's not as bad. And at the time you're like, okay, I'm trying to process the word cancer. And all I can think of is death and dying and what can I do? And panicking. But then she says, well, 2 of the oncologists, the breast oncologist and then the oncologist, the main oncologist to me, she said, if you're going to choose, this is one of the easy ones. And, how do you process that? Because, and
I mean, I was there with you through your journey. Yeah. And to say that was one of the easier journeys is mind blowing. Yeah. I have got other friends that are going through breast cancer and cervical cancer and things like that. And it's horrific to think that we can classify your journey as an easier journey because, my God, from what I saw and my part in your journey, it was not easy. Yeah. So when you were diagnosed, how did that moment, I mean, we're talking about that one specific moment of 10 seconds, but also that week, that month, how did that change your life?
You stop thinking about the future. And it's like you have to think about the here and now. And I think I'm, in a way, I know it's terrible. But in a way, the one overriding motivation that I had to survive was my daughter. Like, she was 5 at the time, and I know
you're fine.
I can't stop.
That's fine.
But she was 5 at the time, and I was like, okay, this is something that's a big thing in my life, but I can't just think about me. I have to think about her. And yeah, she gave me the positive way, like I couldn't say to myself, well, maybe I did for a few seconds. Why is this happening to me? I can't believe this. And I suppose we all have those thoughts whenever something bad happens in our life, doesn't matter what it is. But then I suppose, and I'm in a way thankful for it, that her smiling face, her like need for me as a mother was like, okay, well, I have to just survive this no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, and not survive as in, get through cancer, survive and live, but more whatever journey I had to go through, because I didn't know what journey I was going to have. I didn't know that I'd be here in 4 years' time. It was, how do I make the next day, the next week, the next month, normal for her, bearable for her. Yeah. So, and that was it. Like, that was my overarching thing. And, I think what this taught me straight away was, the unselfishness of what I was going through, because I think it's probably the first time that you really should be thinking selfishly, that you have to think about yourself at the time. And you have to say, what can I do to protect myself? What can I do to make myself feel better? What can I do to get through this? You don't want to think about anybody else, and nobody else understands, and all of that kind of thing. But at the same time, because of April, I had to say, no, I have to think unselfishly as well.
And I think that I'm not a mother. The last podcast we did, we actually spoke about fertility and the choice of being a mother. I'm not a mother. However, I think when you are a mother, this choice of unselfishness and having a dependent ultimately overrides every journey you go through in life. Always. No matter what.
It changed from the moment, from the moment she was in me, but from the moment I held her. Because I suppose at the beginning, I wasn't a natural mother. Do you know, like when I got pregnant and all of that, I wasn't naturally feeling it. But as soon as I held her, yes, of course. But no, cancer is because it's the other end of life, right? It's the death that you think about. So,
yes. So if we talk about the word strength, what did your strength look like in that time? So we can talk about this in phases, like the initial phase, the first week, month. Yes. Then we can talk about the first year.
Okay.
And then we could probably talk about after the cancer had cleared, after the treatment, and what does strength look like for the last 3 years?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, sure. So obviously at the beginning, the strength is just to get through the next day. The next day, in a way that you don't crumble in a heap and hide. I actually had visitors at the time. They'd been visiting from the UK. It was Halloween, so it's actually just my anniversary last week, and it was a shock, obviously. So you just have to try and put on a brave face. The kids went to trick or treating, luckily I had a nanny at the time, and while we all just sat there, I even had a drink. I was just like, we sat there and just said, look, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. And then the next day we went to lunch, and, you're sitting there having a brave face, but all your friends and even my husband is like looking at me all the time going, how's she going to react? Is she going to burst into tears? Is she going to cause a scene? That kind of thing. I'm sure they weren't thinking that bad, but it is one of those things like, let's be tentative. But then the next few months, it's like, well, treatment started pretty quick.
Immediately.
Yeah, within a month. So I had no time to even process. Like I had the catheter put in my chest, and then treatment started within a month. So within a month and a half, my hair was falling out. My physical being was already changing. So I had to explain to my daughter, mummy's sick. I didn't say the word cancer because she was 5 at the time. Mummy's sick and I'm having really, really strong medication. This is going to change how I am, like physically, what I can do, and, how I can be a mummy. And so the amazing thing about all of this is how she reacted in such a very emotionally mature way. She guided me. And, there were times when I couldn't hug her, I couldn't hold her because I was toxic. I think the word is chemotoxic. You know, when you have chemotherapy and then the first 2 days they say you can't go near a child that's under 10 years old, because, you know, you are chemotoxic. They might get, so I would be in my bedroom and she would come to the doorway. She would, put a kiss in her hand, put it on the wall and say, "Mummy, here's a kiss for you. Come and get it later." And, you know, there were times when, I don't know, instinctively, she's like, "Mummy," oh, I'd go to the toilet, I'd come back out and there's a glass of water at my bedside table. She's like, "Mummy, I thought you needed a glass of water." So it was like, and perfect timing. That was exactly what I needed at the right time. She instinctively knew how to look after me. And then when my hair started falling out, no, I had really, really long hair like this. And she, my hair started falling out. It was on the floor. It was on the couch. And there she is behind me picking up hair. And I said, "No, I can't do this to her. This is too much." So that's when I decided after the second chemo that I'd shave my head. And then, my husband shaved, like we did the wet shave. And in a way that it helped a lot. Like it cooled me down. I didn't have hair falling everywhere. And it prepared her. So she was there at the time. No, first I had it cut short. And then within a week, like the hair was just too much. So we wet shaved it and she was there at the time. And just so that she could be included in that, that she didn't come home from school and see that Mummy was suddenly changed.
Yeah.
She had to be a part of the process. And, you know, within 20 minutes of watching me get my head shaved, she's like, "Oh, Mummy, can I go outside and play?" And in a way that kind of just like, "Yeah, of course you can, darling." You know, like that normality
very nice.
was there. Yeah. So, and that was, that to me made me feel better that she was included, that she didn't come home going, "Mummy, what have you done?"
Yeah.
You know? And obviously over the 6 months that I had chemo, my physical body changed. I'd lost weight. I put on weight, you know, like with steroids. I was, vomiting. I was, you know, tired all the time. I was anxious. I was worried. But there were times that I had to still take her to places. I had 1 week in the 3-week cycle that I could do things, that I could drive her to gymnastics, that I could take her to the park, albeit I could only manage half an hour or so. Like, and if I was driving, I needed my nanny with me just in case, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes
so your physical strength was like coming and going in waves.
Oh, yeah. Because, you know, the first week of chemo, of the cycle was, you know, you're sick, you're physically sick, you're nauseous, and, you know, and then second week you're immunosuppressed. And then the third week, it's called your party week, where you're a little bit more alive, you're a little bit more strong, you can go outside. And there were times when I'd take her to school. Sometimes I'd sit in the car, but sometimes I'd put on a turban, and then go out. Because it was also my workplace and children knew me at the school. So I didn't want to surprise people. I didn't want to shock people, but they all knew, you know, and it was very supportive and encouraging. Yeah.
So the strength of community as well.
Yeah.
The friends.
Yeah. Like, and the people that visited me, like her school teacher, you know, like all my friends that contacted me during that time, even if it was through messages online or, you know, I was even in contact with people that I'd never met.
Yeah.
You know, through social media and things like that.
I know I put you in touch with a girl in the UK.
Yes, that's right. She was a strong woman as well.
Yeah. A strong woman, like competitive strong woman.
Competitive strong woman.
But she was also a strong woman because she was going through her own cancer journey. She had cervical cancer.
Yeah.
And I remember putting you both in touch, and actually, although you'd never met, you were having some really profound conversations with each other to support each other through such a hard time.
Journey. And then I even painted her a picture and she used it as a profile, even like it was her face on a superhero. Cause I, you know, and that's it, like that. I learned how to paint during that thing. And that was part of my strength. That was part of my, I think part of it was like, I can't just sit here being lazy. I've got to go and do something with my life.
Typical woman. Yeah. Be productive all the time.
Even though I was going through chemo, but
but that's a really soft way of being productive, feeling engaged intellectually, creatively.
And it was something that I could do with my daughter. Like, so she also started painting during that time, and the first paintings that we did together, oh my goodness. But now she's an art leader at school. She's she paints her own things, and, you know, that's what we do together.
And so we come back to the how your pain can bring purpose. It can shine light on your talents. It can open doors into your future and your pathway. For me, I come back to the book and how I've shared a very painful journey through this, but how somehow I'm now a published author and I talk to women about their very painful journeys, and how it can help and support other people, because going through these hard times is really hard, but everybody can learn something from it, and you learn about yourself so much.
The patience that I've learned, the patience, and also I think for me the biggest message that I've received in this whole journey is life's too short. Do you know, like, I'm 50 now. I was 46 when I...
Which one, you don't look like 50. Two, your hair has grown back so beautifully.
I know, yeah.
And as your friend who knew you before and after the cancer, you are just full of life.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
When I came to your 50th birthday and you broke out into your dance, I was like, yeah, girl.
Yeah. I remember,
like, really emotional actually watching you dance that day, and I was just like,
considering the fact, and this is where you come into my life then, like, considering the fact that I struggled to get off the floor.
Yeah.
When I was going through chemo, my muscles were soft. Just my knees, like all the don't know what
were swollen, inflammation in your body, your muscles was atrophied, which means they start disappearing. And
there probably would have been a way that I could have avoided that in some way, but I was just dealing with, I suppose the mental and emotional anguish of all of this. And there were physical aspects like the sickness and other aspects that going for a walk down the road was my last priority. And it's the fact that, like, I lost my eyesight in a way, and I lost my hearing, your visual acuity. I couldn't judge my walking.
Your spatial awareness.
My spatial awareness. And so when I started coming out of chemo, and I suppose chemo and radiation as well.
Yeah. And
then you came into my life as a personal trainer.
And I think that was around April the following year. So 6 months after the diagnosis.
Yeah. And so already you were a friend, but then you had to turn professional and make me into a trainer. And I think, like, both of our expectations were a little bit maybe high at the time. Because then Scarlett saw me and trying to get up off the floor, like, and like this, trying to push myself out of a chair or whatever. And I think in her head, she's probably going, oh my God, what am I going to do?
It's really interesting hearing you say that. We've actually never spoken about this.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have expectations.
Right,
I knew you were sick because of being a friend and supporting you through the treatment. I didn't have expectations of what I thought you could or couldn't do from a professional strength coach point of view. I just knew that we needed to make you stronger, whatever that meant.
Yeah.
And this is really interesting, and we'll come back to this point exactly. But so many people contact me online to start strength coaching and go, but I don't want to do what you do.
Yeah.
Oh, do you think I turned up at your house and made you do what I do? Like, for real, come on. My eldest client, she's 74. She doesn't do what I do.
Yeah.
I've had a client for 4 years who's completely blind.
Yeah.
She doesn't do what I do. I mean, she has a damn good go, but she doesn't do what I do. Yeah. And it's so interesting how people have this perception of, but I don't want to get big and bulky. Yeah. I don't want to do what you do. I don't want to lift as heavy as that. Getting strong is relative to where you are at your start point. Your start point was
actually jelly.
Yeah. And as you said, you couldn't walk for 5 minutes down the road alone. You couldn't get off the sofa or up off the floor without support.
Going up and downstairs.
So having a strength coach at that time was life-changing.
Yeah.
For me, it was professionally life-changing to go through that journey with you. Yeah. But for you, if you want to talk about kind of how it helped you, we've got the first month of dealing with the diagnosis, talking to your daughter about the fact that mummy's sick. We had 5 months of treatment, and that taking enormous amounts of mental strength, and quite an isolated time of you literally being alone in your bedroom. And then you've come out of treatment, and I turn up and say, right, girl, let's go.
Up and at 'em. And then,
so from there to what?
Do you know, I mean, I must say, like, working with you, there was, obviously I wanted to work. I wanted to do something because my motivation at the time, I don't know if you remember, but I was going to Australia.
Yeah.
So within 2 months, I needed to be up and walking and on that plane.
We needed to get you through the airport alone.
Yeah.
Because you were having assistance to the airport.
Yeah.
And you were being picked up from the other airport. Yeah. But in between, you
with
were
April on the plane.
With your daughter.
With my daughter on the plane. And so, and I had it was April and I was going in the end of June. Yeah. So yes, in my head, I was like, that was part of my motivation. Second was obviously my body had taken such a quick change, like physical toll in that 6 months that I was a dancer, I was active. I really wanted to kind of get back to that as well. But, I had to give myself time,
grace.
And then, but the other part was mental strength, like the motivation. Having you there, if I had to do it by myself and watch YouTube channels or whatever, no way could have I done it, I needed you to say to me, right, I'm going to ask you to do this, just try. And I think the word try and I'm here to support you were so important in how I managed it all. Because in my head, I was like, I'm not doing this for Scarlett. I'm not doing this for April. I'm doing this for me, part of it. But having Scarlett there makes me feel stronger. Like it motivates me. April in the background going, you can do it, mummy. Do like those kind of things inspire me. I needed that, that sort of
a safety blanket, a comfort blanket,
and that bolster. That knowing that the people around me are supporting me. I'm like, but also if me having that ability to say, or that chance, like that ability to say, I can't do this at the minute. Can you give me a minute? Or I can't do this now. Can you give me a day or
tears.
2? Yeah.
There was a lot of tears and a lot of...
And you were saying, yes.
Realisation
take your time.
Where you were at was quite hard.
Yeah. And it's just to say, you can push yourself to a certain point, but also to not understand your limits and not beat yourself up over it. Like Scarlett, having you there is like, okay, I'm going to give you maybe 5-10 minutes. Let's just see. Let's take it easy. Maybe just swing your legs or, push your arms or something that there's no sort of pressure on your body, but we're going to try again. We're going to try again. And the first couple of sessions, I would say, was torture. Felt like torture. Mm-hmm. And not because you were pushing me way too hard. You weren't. But because I realized how far I had lost. How much I had lost, and what I needed to gain. Like to even just get up off the chair without having to push myself like 10 times like an elderly person,
And even that first day, I remember we went for a walk.
Yeah.
So typically if you have a client in the gym, you need to do a warm up before you start doing anything. So you might put them on the treadmill or the bike or the rowing machine or jog up and down or something, get the heart rate going.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, we're doing this from home. Obviously, you're not in the position to going for a jog. Yeah. So I said, let's go for a walk. We put shoes on.
Park, yeah.
Yeah. And it was hot. It was hot outside. And I think we walked to the end of your road.
Yeah.
And back.
Yeah.
And you were holding on to me the whole time.
Yeah. I was scared.
And that was enough.
Yeah.
That actually was an accomplishment on that day.
Yeah.
And obviously we worked together for those 3 months, every week, twice a week. I think it was twice a week, 3 times a week. And then you went to Australia and you had a lovely trip and you were physically able in the airport on the plane.
Yeah. And I was walking, like doing little hikes with my family, in Australia. Yeah.
It's honestly incredible.
Yeah.
I want to touch on how the chemotherapy and the radiotherapy, you spoke about being chemoactive.
Chemotoxic, chemotaxic or whatever the word is. Yeah. Radioactive.
That was in my head. Sorry. Same.
Well, I was radioactive. Yeah.
But how you were then put into chemically induced menopause.
Yeah.
So you were 46 at the time, which typically the average age a woman goes through menopause is 52.
Right, okay.
And menopause is actually just one day of a woman's life. And it's the day that marks having not had a period for 12 months.
Yeah.
Up until that day, you're in perimenopause. And perimenopause can last 10 to 15 years, terrifyingly. And it's a really difficult time for a woman, a transition of their hormones. It's like puberty in reverse. It's very chaotic. Yeah. It's very unpredictable. Every woman's journey is different. It's hard for women to get diagnosed with it. It's hard to get supplements or HRT and support and things like this. You skipped all of that, all of that perimenopause. At 46, you went into chemotherapy and that put you into chemically induced. And what we mean by that, you can probably explain this better than me as a nurse as well, is about how the chemical reaction to your body, your ovaries, and producing those hormones stopped.
Yeah, during the initial conversations about treatment with the oncologist, they asked me if I wanted to freeze my eggs. And the reality of that, if I was younger, that question is like, it's so daunting because at the time, all you're thinking about is cancer and getting through it. You're not thinking about the future, but you're forced to think about the future going, okay, if I was 30, which one of my friends is 30, how do you answer that question? And of course you're going to go, yes, of course. But at the time, and as they do explain, not that we can guarantee anything later on as well. Mm-hmm. Like, not that we can guarantee that your eggs will you will survive, or they'll be taking. Yeah.
Or we can take them and we can freeze them, but when we put them back inside you,
it's going to be viable. Baby, yeah. So that was in the initial conversation of chemo treatment. And then I think at the time, 46 years old, I had one daughter. She was 41. I was 41 when I had her. And it took a long time to have her. So I think at the time and because I had such complications after giving birth, that my husband and I said, I said, not him, I said, no, I don't want.
Not doing that again.
Yeah, I'm not. And, that's a hard question to answer, really.
Yeah.
Because you kind of in that split moment, you have to say, and I'm sure they would have said, look, take your time thinking about it. But at the time I was like, no, I want to just get through this.
You also think take your time thinking about it, but there must be an element of, I haven't got time to think about it because I've got cancer. I need to get on with my treatment.
Yeah. And so, so I want to get this cancer out of me, just get me treated. So I decided not to keep that, and then they said, okay, you will most likely will go through menopause, chemically induced menopause. Within the first cycle of chemo, I had a period, and I think it lasted 2 days. I was very regular before that, very regular, and then after the second cycle of chemo, it stopped altogether. So then I had another 4 sessions of chemo and then radiation.
And that's it. And you've never had a period since?
No. And then, as soon as radiation finished, that's when the symptoms occurred.
So that's what I was going to ask you. You're going through a medical situation anyway. So you've got all these symptoms. Your body's changing, your hair, you've lost your hair, you're losing your muscle, you're losing your strength, you're gaining weight, you're losing weight, the steroids, the appetite, the vomiting, all these things. So really, the symptoms of menopause are probably like...
I didn't know what. Yeah.
Then the treatment stops. You start working with me to gain your physical strength back. Your periods haven't come back. And then you start realising that you've gone through menopause. You're now post-menopause at the age of 46. How did that feel? What symptoms did you have?
The main one was hot flushes, and that was hot flushes, but also, we say brain fog, but whether it was chemo-induced brain fog, whether it was, all of it.
Bloodlines.
It was bloodlines. Definitely the hot flushes, and just, the reactions of people are like, oh, I'm hot too. And I was like, yeah, but you don't understand what this, this feeling is like. It's just like a sudden rush of hotness, and then oh god, get me out of here. And then you start sweating, and then within 5 minutes it's gone, and it's like you're crazy. Like, did that just happen? But and then you have people of the male persuasion saying, well, it is a hot day, so everybody's feeling hot.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. But there's that.
Yeah, but I'm like uncontrollably hot. I'm having a panic attack.
Yeah.
How hot I feel. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I don't know, I suppose you've discussed the sexual side of things, that obviously, whether because it was chemo, whatever.
Again, blurred lines. Yeah. You've been through a life-changing situation.
Yeah.
You're rediscovering yourself, your physical body.
There was no way that was going to happen anyway. So we all know what happened there. But yeah. But yeah, I think because then it was probably a few months later. I think it would have been, say, after all the treatment finished in May. I'd say it was October, November. I said this, and I need to get this checked out by the gynecologist, the obstetrician, sorry. And she's like, yeah, you've just gone through menopause, all the hormones, why don't we try HRT? And because of my cancer, I was allowed to. I know there's a lot of women that have breast cancer. They can't have HRT.
It's very interesting. I just actually moderated a panel at the GCC Menopause Summit that was menopause and cancer.
Right.
And I had 2 cancer survivors on there. One had breast cancer, one had cervical cancer. And I had a PhD research scientist, and I had a gynecologist who worked specifically with women with endometriosis and fibroids.
Yeah.
And we spoke about, is HRT safe for women with endometriosis, safe for women who have family history of breast cancer? And the overriding answer from the panel was, yes, it is safe.
Okay.
But it has to be closely and individually monitored. This is not medical advice, FYI, for the audience. But if you want to, and you want to ask in my DMs for who those contacts are of the doctor I had on the panel, please drop me a message and I can share her details with you.
Great.
Because she was actually very strong in saying it is safe, but it's all done on an individual basis.
Yeah. Good,
so it's really interesting.
Yeah.
But yes, you didn't have breast cancer or cervical cancer, so
no,
slightly different situation.
Yeah. And so then when HRT kicked in, I started with the estrogen gel and progesterone tablets. Yeah. And within a day, the hot flush is finished.
Stop it.
Yeah, the hot flush is finished.
Okay.
And the libido went right up, and then
way, here she is. We came back.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I don't know, it was kind of like the fog cleared. And whether it was just something that, like, I was taking control of my life, the mental sort of strength of that.
Placebo effect?
Probably. You could have been, and the fact, I mean, lots of things had happened in my life then.
Yeah.
Life was changing a lot for me. And so, I say that apart from the fact that I just had cancer and everything, but yeah, I was going through a separation and all of that kind of stuff. But then, actually, no, sorry, I lie. It happened a year later.
Okay.
The HRT. Yeah. The HRT kind of happened a bit later. And yeah, it wasn't, not in the same year that I started treatment. Like maybe it would have been like, I can't even think now. 9 months later. But anyway, I think everything started becoming a lot more clear in my life, like in my mind.
HRT.
Yeah. Just how to deal with things, what became important in my life, and what I should be fighting for, and who the most important people in my life are. So, yeah.
And they were all there at your birthday at that 50th party?
Except my daughter, but yes.
All those important.
Everybody and my family.
Really need to be there.
Yeah.
That's really nice. Thanks for sharing. I mean, that's a really vulnerable conversation and really open.
Yeah.
And I actually really hope that it helps somebody else. Even if you haven't gone through cancer yourself, but just you saying how instantly HRT made you feel better, because the old research, you touched on the fact that maybe it isn't or it is safe during cancer, and that is an individual basis. But cancer or no cancer, the research from the 1960s say that taking HRT can cause cancer. And that research has, obviously science has changed, medicine has changed. We're in 2025 now. Like you would expect things to have developed, which they have. And again, this is not medical advice, but they are saying that bioidentical hormones, as in progesterone and estrogen, and testosterone for women, which we don't talk about enough, how women do have testosterone, and that also reduces during perimenopause and menopause, and how giving women micro doses of testosterone can really also help. But just how quickly you felt better being on it, because I think so many women are scared of it. I'm scared of it. I've been diagnosed with early onset menopause. A year ago. My symptoms started long ago. Again, blurred lines between I had polycystic ovary syndrome. Were my symptoms that? Were they the early menopause? But I was recommended to start taking HRT last year when I was at the peak of my athletic career. And I was terrified. I was like, is it going to make me gain weight? Is it going to make me lose strength? Is it going to make me go crazy? Is it going to have because every medicine comes with side effects, right? Not all women get the side effects. They get the positive benefits of it, but can take a while to allow your body to adjust. And the year that I was going through last year, it's all in my book, I couldn't
It was
I didn't
another
want
thing.
to give myself that time to adjust. I was already struggling so much. And the only thing that felt certain and continuous was I didn't have a daughter to channel my positivity and my strength into. I'm out here alone without family. What I had to channel myself into was my competitions. And I was worried that taking HRT would affect my ability to do that. That was last year. Now coming into this year, I gave myself a break from training. I let my body rest. I thought that might make things settle, but actually this year, month on month on month, I've got worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
And I've actually just started taking bioidentical progesterone. It might be too soon to say. I don't know. Ask me in a month or a year's time. But I do actually feel a bit better. But the whole point of perimenopause is one day you feel good and the next day you don't. So maybe I'm just having a feel good day. I don't know. But it is really interesting just to suggest that taking HRT was so positive for you.
Because I even, once I started the tablets, 6 months later, I started bleeding again. So yeah, but it was only spots.
Okay.
And so I went to see the gynecologist again and she said, oh, you've got polyps, so you need to get them removed. And then when I did, she said, while I'm in there, I may as well put the Mirena coil. And so the Mirena coil is also something that some women can do. And so it works for some women, and like even in my own family, it didn't work for my close family member. But for me, it just changed everything. Yeah.
So you say
again,
the Mirena coil was amazing.
That with the gel, and it worked for me.
I know another woman that says the Mirena coil literally changed her life.
It worked for me.
The Mirena coil is a progesterone only form of. It's a contraceptive form, actually.
Yes,
but it basically is inserted into the vagina, and it's a slow release of progesterone. And then you're taking the estrogen gel as well. Some people do, some people don't.
I take 3 pumps, by the way. I think doctors initially say, just have 1.5 pumps, but didn't do anything. So then the doctor in the end, she's like, just 3 pumps, just slather it all over it, because I was standing there waiting for it to dry. Yeah. With your, but then, she's like, just rub it here, rub it there. It's, you don't do that, right? You just got to keep it on your thighs.
Yeah.
And then eventually it will dry. But it's,
so
it
3 worked
really
for you.
changed. Yeah.
And this is it. It's a journey. That's what I was talking about with my journey last year. I didn't have the time to think, was it 1.5 for me? Was it 3 for me? Let my body adjust. Let's see what works. Because it is a period of adjustment, and it's a period of trial and error. And there is no one prescription that just fixes everything for everyone, which we all wish would hurry up and come. But we're not there yet.
Wave the magic wand, why don't you? Yeah.
So I want to kind of wrap your story up. I could talk to you.
I know.
And I could keep there's so much more we could dig into. I know that. Yeah. But what does today look like for you, and what does tomorrow and the future look like for you?
So last year, my life changed again. Went through a divorce, and I think at the time I was panicking about how I was going to survive, because my life was literally following him around for 20 years. And adjusting my life to his life, which I don't think
many women do this.
Yeah, of course. A lot of women do it. You do it because of the marriage. You do it because that's what you want in your life. Like, that's what you do together, right? Yeah. But I had given up my nursing career. I was now a teaching assistant, obviously not, earning the big bucks and all of that kind of stuff. So I needed to have a career for myself. So last year at 49, I started a PGCE. And graduated to become a teacher.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah. And,
I really am.
And that journey started with you, Scarlett. And so now I'm working in the amazing school that I started in with you. My daughter is there. She's thriving. And the opportunities that they've given me there as well has really, I don't know, I just wish I had done this earlier, and you don't want to say that because you don't want regret in your life, but I just think teaching is big. I found something in teaching that I never thought I'd find. Oh, here I am teary again. I love it. I adore it. And
don't you think everything comes to your life at the right time?
Yeah.
When you get this, you can wish you did it sooner, but
I think yes, exactly. I think if I was a teacher earlier, before April,
you were raising April. And you enjoyed doing that.
Yeah, but even if I was a teacher before April, there's no way I would have had that affinity with it.
Yeah.
Do you know that sensitivity towards it? I think, with kids.
Yeah.
Even with parents, trying to understand them. Like, it's a very different breed, right? And I'm a parent myself, so, you know, but having the patience that I learned through chemo, but also as a teacher, I don't know, like the things that for me to deal with everyday life, for me to deal with, you know, dating and friendships and other, like, even just colleagues, it's chemo, divorce, and teaching has really helped me become the person that I am today. Honestly, like, apart from the fact that my whole life I have learned all my life,
of course,
you know, and I'm a positive person. I don't think I'm too old to learn. Never. You know, never too old to learn, never too old to be something else, to do something else with your life.
And I think you are a shining example of being never too old to be so truly yourself.
Yeah.
I come back to that moment of watching you dance at your birthday. Like, I don't know if you understand how much that is ingrained in me and how special that is. And just having this conversation now, realizing how much of an impact I've had on your life and that I know you've had on my life as well. And then watching you dance that day on your birthday, it was just like magical to be 50 years old wearing your beautiful gold shiny outfit, like so fabulous. Like, this is so my auntie would wear like fabulous clothes like this as well. And to just rock the dance floor like that with no insecurity, no inhibitions, no care what other people think of you, because this is my life and I'm going to live it the way I want to live it.
And the song was I Will Survive, you know, like, and it was like I was explaining this to somebody. That particular dance was the most cathartic thing that I had ever experienced after all these years, right? Of all these years of heartache and pressure and challenge, right? So that culminated in that. I was surrounded by the people that I loved. Like, honestly, I was dancing in the middle of a circle. Everybody was around me. We were like, I will survive. And then something hit me. I cannot believe that I'm here with people that have seen me at my worst, and now they're
your weakest, vulnerable,
and now they knew me at my best, and then even better, you know, and I just had to look at certain people, and they all understood, you know, and then I burst into tears, but they were tears of like joy and strength and release, you know, like I was like reborn that day, reborn that night, you know, and.
You're actually giving me goosebumps.
Yeah, look at this, babe. Like, from that day on, I was like, nobody's going to tell me how to live my life anymore. You know,
no one good.
No one.
And I love that. Okay, I'm going to wrap the conversation up on such a positive note, and maybe I'll bring you back and we can dive a bit deeper into other topics like the HRT and the cancer, and maybe we can have a group podcast where I can invite some other people who've been through similar things, because I just think there's so much more to talk about. Time is ticking. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. You can see how this is why she's such a good teacher. Like, subscribe. Share this with friends, family members, colleagues, your brothers, your dads, your husbands. Because the more people that hear conversations like this, I think the more socially aware we become of these topics that are just so taboo. Like, oh my God, she's got cancer. Did you know she's got cancer? Yeah. Oh my God, she's gone through menopause. Oh my God, she's got no hair left.
If I had a megaphone, I don't need a megaphone, but I'd talk about it every day, all the time.
You don't need a megaphone. So please like, subscribe, share this. We're also available on Spotify. You can listen to this in the car whilst you're driving to and from your commute to work. Thank you so much for being so open and so vulnerable. And just so you're just like a shining light in my life. And you have, like I said, how much I've been there for you, but you're like an absolute rock in my life. So that is the Strong Woman Speak. I am one of the world's strongest women, won world championships, broken world records. But this is real women having real conversations about what really strong actually means, being a strong woman. And it's not necessarily muscle, although muscle mass, we know how important that is.
I need to, sorry, I need to see you again, Scarlett. I need to start booking appointments.
So on that note, see you next time.
Bye.